All right, guys, welcome back. This is the Rams Bleacher Report postgame. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. You can find me on socials at JK Bogan. But unfortunately, the Rams fell in this one at home. They're 0-2 on the at home at SoFi. They're 0-2. They fall to 2-3 on the season after losing this one to the defending NFC champion Eagles, 23-14. We're going to be talking about the winners and losers of this game, and there are quite a few to hand out. Just, getting started here, I think 100% a winner has to be in this one, Kyren Williams. I thought he was excellent in pass protection, showed his ability to, run against a really tough defensive front, albeit they didn't have Fletcher Cox. But I think, the game flow kind of took him out of the game a little bit. He ran hard, made plays after contact, ended up with a 4.1 yards per carry average. So not a ton he was able to do, and I don't really blame Sean McVay for the lack of the run game. And the reason for that, Rams barely had the ball. There wasn't really much they could do, considering the fact the offense was just on the sideline while the defense just continued to get picked apart. So I have Kyren Williams as the first winner here. I think the second winner here for the Rams has to be Cooper Kupp. Anytime you're able to come back, from a serious injury and look like he hasn't played since the middle of 2022. He comes out here and he goes for over 100 yards in his first game back, 12 targets, caught 8 of them for 118 yards, had a 39-yard explosive play. So that was great stuff that you saw from Cooper Kupp right there. And I think in response to that as well, Puka Nacua. We were hearing all sorts of stuff about Puka Nacua is not going to be able to get going once Cooper Kupp gets back, and how, Nacua can't work with Cooper Kupp in the offense. That was put to rest in this one. 7 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown, which was awesome. Obviously all of that pretty much came in the first half, but I thought Nacua looked really good, comfortable, 11 targets. Kupp had 12. Nacua comes down with 7 of those 11 targets. A winner in this one, I got to say, it's the offensive line. I thought they really gave Stafford opportunities. I thought they did a decent job in the run game. I felt like this unit as a whole just did a great job against a really, really good football team and a really good defensive front at that. So you can't hate on them. You can't blame them. The offensive line, I thought, just balled out and played the best that they could. So obviously, shout out to the Rams offensive line. Alec Jackson looks like a stud at left tackle. Left guard Steve Avila, he continues to have a really nice rookie campaign. Coleman Shelton got hurt. Brian Allen came in for a little bit. You could see kind of the drop off there as far as a guy that could get out and, block on the run. Shelton came back in the game, and he's definitely the better of the two, but Allen's not a bad backup center either. Right guard, I think the Rams have found the right guard, and I would not be surprised if Kevin Dotson is signed long-term after this season. I think they did go out and make that trade with the expectation that they would probably bring him back. I thought he played another really quality game, especially in the run game. And then I thought, right tackle Rob Havenstein had a few mishaps, including one where he lost his footing. But for the most part, Rob Havenstein, rock solid. You can only do so much. And at the end of the day, Stafford was sacked 4 times in this game, but that all came really at the end when they're trying to get these longer plays to develop. I thought really the majority of the game, I thought the offensive line played pretty well. I know people are going to disagree. I think people are going to rip the offensive line. But I also think that the Eagles dialed it up, and they smelled blood in the water. And that's that. So I want to give a shout out to the offensive line. And the other winner here, I'm going to also throw out, it's going to be on the defensive side. I'm going to say O'Shawn Mathis. Okay. Anytime you're a 6th round pick who, you didn't get a chance to play preseason, you didn't get a chance to work in training camp, you only had mini camp work, and you come off IR in the same week, you're able to get a few pressures on the quarterback. I don't know how they'll score it, but I saw 2 pressures from him. I thought he looked really good. I don't know why he came on the field and they took Byron Young off the field. I would have liked to see them both on the field. There was a lot of Michael Hoyt. Not really sure as to why. So I definitely think when you look at it, O'Shawn Mathis is definitely a winner in this one. Last winner here for the defense. Actually, I'll give 2. First off, hats off to Ahkello Witherspoon. Just week in, week out, he comes down with the interception. He's now had back-to-back games with the interception. And that's huge. I mean, what he's been able to do, a takeaway, excuse me. So that's huge, and I think when you have back-to-back games with, takeaways on a team that's just struggling to take the ball away and generate extra possessions for the offense, I mean, that's great. But when you get this guy literally at the end of June, you get this guy and he plugs right in and he becomes your starting corner. I mean, he's just been incredible for them. Ahkello Witherspoon has, and I thought he was great in this game, even just taking away the interception. But no, shout out to Ahkello Witherspoon, who also does a really nice job in the run game as well. I think he's very well disciplined in that regard. So he gets one. And then the last winner here that I got to throw out here, it's got to be Duke Shelley. The most important play of the game, I think, really came, and obviously they ended up losing, but you can't forget when Duke Shelley had to come in. Ahkello Witherspoon leaves because of cramping, and Duke Shelley gets thrown in on the outside against, I think it was Devontae Smith, potentially the game-ending touchdown. Like if they score here, the game's over. Shelley came in and had a monstrous pass breakup. That was huge. I mean, completely saved the game and kept it going. You cannot discredit anything about Duke Shelley's performance today. I really think he deserves to be out there in some capacity. I've been saying that. The way he ended last year, watching the tape, the last 6 games of the season, he was an absolute baller, and he looks like that. So that's what I'll say about that. Losers in this game, we move Matthew Stafford. I hate giving him a loser card. I love Matthew Stafford. Okay. Didn't, turn the ball over at all, but he missed so many throws in the second half that he was hitting in the first half. So many throws in the second half that he can hit. So it was really frustrating to see that because he's capable of it. And we did not see it from Stafford in the second half. Missed the touchdown to Atwell that would have taken the lead, believe it or not. Missed the touchdown the next play to Cooper Kupp, would have taken the lead. And then later on, he missed the touchdown to Cooper Kupp again. I counted 3 touchdowns on the field. He led on the field. So I don't know what happened to him. I have a theory here. I don't think he's hurt. I don't think it's anything like that. I think it's kind of like he got cold. The best analogy I could give is you look at like a relief pitcher warming up in the bullpen, expecting to come out and pitch the next half inning. And then essentially what ends up happening is that, the inning keeps going on and your team keeps, you're at bat and your team keeps getting on base and more batters come up and the inning drags on. I feel like the reliever in that sense can get cold. And I feel like I'm going to relate this to the Rams in that the offense was on the sidelines almost the entire game, it seemed like. And I think Stafford got cold. He was in a zone. He really had, he really had a nice first half, but I think he really got cold. Credit to the Eagles. When you look at their game plan, it's exactly how you want to win a football game. It's not about style points. What they did is they took the time of possession completely away from the Rams. They had long, sustainable drives, and they kept the clock churning, and they kept all the time with them on the field, kept their defense fresh. And, I also think we talk too much always about the idea of what happens if your defense is on the field so long. But I think today is kind of maybe a little bit of a reminder what happens when your offense is off the field for too long. And I think they kind of got out of that rhythm that we saw, plus the momentum shift that we saw to end the half. Once again, back-to-back home games. You're talking about the 49er game and the Eagle game. They both have that, last-second touchdown that really kind of changes the outcome or changes the momentum, if you will, flips it on its head after just a great touchdown drive before then. But yeah, I think Stafford, he's a loser in this one because he missed a lot of throws that he's capable of making and throws that would have completely altered the game. So I hate to do it, but I got to do it. Another loser in this game is going to be wide receiver Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson did not receive a target. Van Jefferson, I don't even know if was on the field at any point. Unfortunately for Van Jefferson, I don't know what his role is moving forward. I think he could easily be brought back by the Rams at the end of the season because his contract's not going to be huge. I feel for him. I really do feel for this guy. I think he was expecting big things, and we haven't heard anything about him demanding a trade or anything. So he's been a team player throughout all of this. But unfortunately, right now, you have 12 targets for Cooper Kupp coming right off the IR. Puka Nacua, 11, targets. Tutu Atwell had 5. I mean, even Ben Skoranek had a target. Van Jefferson right now is the biggest loser in this game because he didn't even get on the stat sheet for a target. I don't know if he had a snap on the offense. Right now, things are tough for Van, but you have to keep in mind that it's not as simple as, oh, we have our 3 guys, let's move on. You never know what can happen. Someone can go down with an injury. God forbid, Cooper Kupp was gone for a while. Puka Nacua was banged up. He played through it. And we've seen Atwell have an injury that sidelined his whole rookie season. You can't just immediately go trade Van Jefferson because you never know what's going to happen. So hopefully, for Van's sake, he gets an opportunity next week in some capacity. I think he is a good receiver. I think right now it's just there are guys that are playing better, and so they're ahead of him. But I think the Rams receiver room is stacked, and I think they showed you that. They've been showing you that every week, but they definitely showed you that in this one. So, yeah, he's a loser there. The pass rush as a whole is a loser. I'm sorry. Jalen Hurts had over 300 passing yards. I don't even think that was the mission. I don't even think they want him to throw that much. But they only got 1 sack on Jalen Hurts. Okay. He had 15 for 72, so 15 carries for 72 yards. Jalen Hurts is one of the best quarterbacks in all football. And, I think this was maybe his best game he played, and he still didn't look as sharp as we've seen him in the past. But there was no pressure. I mean, you had the 1 sack with Zach Van Valkenburg. He had to work. You had the 2 pressures that I counted for the rookie 6th round pick, O'Shawn Mathis. They had a plan of attack to somewhat slow down, silence Aaron Donald a little bit. Aside from those guys, Byron Young, an occasional chase here and there, they really didn't get any pressure. And this is becoming an issue. We talk about this every single week, guys. This has become an issue. It's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, when are they finally going to go and actually get a pass rusher? When are they going to go and get an edge defender? I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think this game, if you really believe that this team can 100% compete for a playoff run, which I think they can, you need to go out and get a pass rusher. No doubt about it. Needs to be done. And there should be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There just was not enough pass rush. It means that the corners, it means the secondary in general has to cover way longer than they should have to. It's just not really acceptable at that point. So, yeah, this has to get fixed. It is a problem. Another problem in this one, in my opinion, was the way that Kobe Durant played and the way that I'm totally blanking on his name right now. Darian Kendrick played. They were kind of exposed in coverage. I'm not going to lie. I think when you look at the 2 guys, I think first off, Kobe Durant, I don't know what it is. He's off to a really slow start. This is 5 games now. At some point, I think Russ East is, or not Russ East, but Duke Shelley, who we just talked about as a winner, is going to have to take over. It's not working. It's not working right now. It's not good. You can't have that drive almost entirely fall on one player, but it really did. Darian Kendrick got destroyed by A.J. Brown on 2 plays that really altered the game. If the Rams stop the Eagles on that drive, it's a completely different ball game. Eagles don't take the lead. Maybe they don't have that momentum building. It became very tough for the Rams after that. But, all in all, those are my winners and losers. I'd also say the Rams, I don't even know how to put it into words. I guess the Rams defense as a whole is also a loser because they only gave up 23 points, to be fair. But I think first off, that was by design. I think Philly was really more focused on running out the clock. I think the second thing here is the tackling. If you want to highlight anything as to why this game really kind of fell apart for the Rams, it was the lack of tackling in the second level. allowing these guys to get to the next level and so forth, and just, yards after the catch. I mean, it wasn't even great, tackle breaking. It was just bad tackling altogether. What Dallas Goedert did in the first half was insane. Goddard had 117 yards, 8 receptions on 9 targets, and a touchdown. Goddard's really good, but that was his best game of his season by far, and the tackling just wasn't good enough. Michael Hoyt was covering him deep down the field for like 50 yards. I don't know what's going on at this point, but I do think changes have to be made, because I think we are in a position now where, okay, Darian Kendrick has shown some good things, and you definitely like what you see at times, but you can't have him be this much of a liability in coverage in these games. And A.J. Brown just ate his lunch. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, you look, Devontae Smith had 5 targets. He caught 1 for 6 yards. So for the most part, they had him bottled up. Akella Witherspoon continues to be a model of consistency there. And it's a shame. But I mean, really what you're looking at, you're going to have to make a couple moves here. Hoyt is not going to cut it on a down and down basis, and he's playing every down. And I don't really know as to why. He's clearly the weak link there. I think Ernest Jones, who I didn't really mention at all, really, I thought he played extremely well. I'm always impressed with Ernest Jones. I think the guy plays like his hair's on fire and his life depends on it. And I was a little bummed about Russ Yeast. I think Russ Yeast had kind of a setback game. There's some moments where I felt like, okay, on the tape last week against the Colts, he really showed out. Like the range was there. He looked really good. But I think, he kind of bit a little bit on that, no look for Jalen Hurts. Looked right at him, then looked him off, and was able to throw the touchdown, created the space with his eyes. Hurts manipulated that, and it's just like, I think, it's definitely, it's a shame. I think the important thing is you have to find the balance of, you're going up against the NFC reigning champions. And at the same time, not only are you doing that, but you're also, this is the end. This is closing the book on one of the hardest starts to a season any team has. And so you want to win, obviously, and you want to set a tone, and you're at home, and you actually want to win at home since you've only won 2 and both have been on the road. But at the same time, you don't want to have any moral victories here. You don't want to say we hung with them. I think that was fair to say week 2 against the 49ers, because the 49ers look like by far the best team going into that game. And then the Rams come out and they actually outplayed them. I don't think the Rams outplayed the Eagles. I think the Rams offense shot themselves in the foot on countless occasions. I think the 3rd down drop by Nakua stands out. I think the missed touchdowns, 3 of them I counted by Stafford, stands out. But in no way, in my opinion, did I see the Rams as they should have won this game. This is a game they could have won. I feel like they definitely should have beaten the 49ers. I think they outplayed the Niners for the majority of the game, but it's a tale of 2 halves. And it, begs the question, should we be concerned as a whole about the Rams and their 2 halves? Because their tale of 2 halves, it's obvious. This is back-to-back games now. First half, they look good, really good against the Colts. Second half, they kind of fall off a little bit. You're going to have injuries in every game. We can't just keep using the excuse, this guy went down, this guy went down, this guy got banged up. It doesn't work. This is the NFL. You got to find ways to win. And, we've seen a few times now the Rams have struggled in the second half. And I think that's something to keep in mind moving forward. And it's definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on. You got Arizona next week. You're 2-3 right now. You can get to 3-3, and then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers to wrap up your homestand. This is not how you want to start a homestand, but you can take some good things away. Again, no moral victories, but you can take some things away. Stafford in the first half looked as good as any quarterback I've seen in the league this year. I don't know what happened in the second half. Kyron Williams looks like a legit starting running back. He was making plays, even though this was the toughest defense that he's gone up against the run. Cooper Kupp, like immediately, it was like plug and play. Oh, you haven't played since the middle of last season? No big deal. 8 catches, 118 yards. Puka Nacua still looked like Puka Nacua. Tutu Atwell found the end zone. Then you look at the defense here. Ernest Jones, I thought, played extremely well. You're getting some great contribution out of Witherspoon. So there are definitely some things to take away. Mathis looks interesting. Watch out for number 32, Mathis. I think it's going to be interesting there. Also, keep in mind, like there was a little, like I see in the comment section here, there's a little miscommunication that happens. Keep in mind, I think this stuff is going to get cleaned up, as they continue to practice together and everything. Kupp just practiced his first week. Okay. What he was able to do is pretty incredible when you think about it. How many receivers are going to just, I haven't played since week 10, week 9, last year. And I come in and drop 8 catches for 118 yards. I mean, that's a hell of a performance by Cooper Kupp. So you really can't take anything away from him. And, I really did like the first half of this game. Looked like it was going to be a fun one. It did end up becoming kind of lousy by the end of this game. But the total, this time of possession right here, this is where the game just kind of takes over. And like I mentioned last week, going up against Anthony Richardson, their time of possession was 24 minutes to the Rams 36. Now, here's the thing. This time of possession right here it feels like more than 37-55 because Jalen Hurts was making that defense feel every single second of it. When you have a running quarterback that's able to run around like he does and make plays and create off script and even in structure, it's a problem. And so this starts to feel like almost the entire game. So the defense, as gassed as they were, to not give up the haymaker and keep this 23-14, like I give them credit. They did not play their best game. If they tackled a little bit better, this game would have been different. But I will say I have to give the defense credit for being on the field almost 38 minutes and having that feel like way more when you have a running quarterback, because those plays take a lot longer than usual. I have to give them credit in that regard. The offense, this tells me they got cold. This tells me that they were on the sideline too long. They were completely out of their rhythm, and it's a shame there. The total yards, I don't hold this against the offense. This is entirely what the Eagles set out to do. They wanted to hold the ball the whole game, and that's pretty much what they did. The majority of the game was theirs. The passing yards were there. The rushing yards were there. The first downs. I mean, it's crazy. They had 17 first downs. They barely had the ball. They almost averaged a first down per minute, held on to the ball. The penalties, I thought they both were pretty bad, honestly. I thought the officiating was hit or miss. The Rams were sacked 4 times. The Eagles only had, sacked once. And then this total play right here, I think that's really what it comes down to. So this is what I'll say. Okay. Eagles are 5-0. They are fighting to be the best team in the NFC with the 49ers. The Rams have played every team down to the wire. Even in this game, say what you will. It's a 9-point game. This was down to the wire. Maybe not to the last second, but they played them tough. Not trying to say moral victories, but this team is definitely able to compete with the best of them. And I think that they're going to get things going. There's a reason why you play 18 weeks, you play 17 games. There's a reason why you can't call a team completely out of the mix if they start the season 2-3. This was never going to be an easy win. And the Rams at one point looked like they should have won this game, but it became a could have won this game pretty quickly. That's what the Eagles do to teams. It's not always pretty, but you live to play another down. You live to play another day, and the Eagles survive and advance and improve to 5-0. And look, it doesn't always have to be pretty, but a win is a win. It's going back to the Colts game. I said a win is a win. That's what it's about. But yeah, on to Arizona. Well, it's going to be at SoFi Stadium, but on to the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals might have a little bit of their magic that's kind of gone out the window, but it is a rivalry game, to be fair. So we don't know how this whole thing's going to go. Should be interesting. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll be doing the post game for that as well. And tune in tomorrow. Cameron Lynch and I, Off the Edge, will be doing an NFL stream tomorrow on Bleacher Report at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I hope to see you guys there. But you guys can follow me at JK Bogan, and I'm Jake Ellenbogen. I'll be over on YouTube as well if you guys want to check that out. But until next time, guys, you take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, folks.